December is here and it came with a blast of cold weather. It happened so fast and took us a little off guard. Every year it seems that no matter how hard we try to be prepared for the cold weather, there's always a few things that slip through the cracks and we have to rush around and get stuff in order. We went out of state for a family reunion this past week, and while we were gone, the temperatures dropped into the teens. Now that we're back, we have a few temporary setups outside with the animals that need to be dealt with, and of course, there's no food made up in the house. So today, we're hoping to get our lives back together and settle in for the winter. We were in Dallas yesterday and it was not hot, but it was definitely warm. And when we got back here to Ohio, got in the little tunnel back into the airport, it was so cold. I had my dad come over here and turn the heat up for us before we got back, but the baseboard heaters in this house do not warm it up very quickly at all. We've got our pellet stove. We can only run it when it gets really cold outside because it can't run on a thermostat. It's not self-starting. I've got the pipe cleaned out on the outside, but it needs to be cleaned out in here, and it should have been done like a long time ago, but didn't get done. So I'm gonna clean it out now and get this thing started so it warms up in here. It's still a little chilly in the house. Wasn't supposed to get this full.
Because we live in an ingredient household, we got home after 5 days of being gone, and there's just no food made up anywhere. If you know, you know. So this morning, I'm going to try to just get a whole bunch of things started. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with all of them yet. This is gonna be a little bit different than my normal meal prep day, but I'm just gonna get a bunch of things going. The first thing I did last night when I got home was start my sourdough starter. I fed my sourdough starter so that it would be bubbly this morning. The house was so cold, I'm half surprised it even got bubbly. For those of you who are wondering, the recipe that I'm using for this sandwich bread is from Amber's Kitchen. I'll have Cody leave the link for you guys. I've been using this for a long time and my kids are really liking this as opposed to the more artisan loaves that are crusty. Those are really good, but they're more of an adult bread. I think the kids have a hard time like chewing through the crust. So lately I've just been going ahead and making this sandwich bread. My ducks have been laying so many eggs and it's perfect because it's right in time for all of the holiday baking. Duck eggs are, in my opinion, far superior to chicken eggs when it comes to baking. They just like make cakes and cookies and breads with this fine, soft crumb. And anybody who's used duck eggs will tell me the same thing. They're like, they're awesome for baking. So I don't like them as much for scrambled eggs and hard-boiled eggs, but they're really great for baking. One of my goals this December is to take the time to just really enjoy life. We have almost all of our Christmas presents wrapped and bought, and that was very, very intentional because I really want December to I want us to be able to enjoy it. One thing that I figured out about myself is that the part of Christmas that I look forward to and love has nothing to do with the gift giving. I enjoy giving some gifts here and there, but often the gift giving brings out that people-pleasing part in me, and so it can feel like a lot of pressure to make people happy. So now for the rest of December, I just get to focus on baking, having fun with my kids, watching some baking shows, some festive cooking shows and things like that. And just feeling all the experiences, having fun, making memories, making traditions with the children. That's the part of Christmas that I really love. And I've just kind of been intentional this year about unsubscribing to the crazy busyness that everybody is feeling over the holidays. It doesn't have to be like that. And I'm sure it's going to be busier than some times of the year, but I just really want to be intentional this year about slowing down and just really enjoying it. The house is really cold because we've been gone for a while. So I'm actually going to stick this bread down in the oven that I preheated just a tiny bit. You don't want to do too much. I preheated it a tiny bit, and then I'm going to leave the light on, and that's going to help this bread rise a lot quicker so that I can bake it tonight. Right before we left on our trip, I ordered a Thrive Market order so that it would be here for when we got back. We were out of a few things and I didn't want to come home and not have them. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store with a mission to make healthy living easy and affordable for everybody. Thrive Market is very quickly becoming one of my very favorite places to shop, especially over the holidays when people are whipping out all the junk food. It's just really nice to have some good alternative swaps so that we can feel festive here at home but still not have all the junk. One thing I was determined to do this year was to not just put sweet stuff in my kids' stockings. They get so much sugar over the holidays. These little beef sticks are perfect. They're just like mini ones. And I ordered these last time in the Thrive box, but unfortunately I kept all the snacks up beside our bed, and so I ate them all already. So I ordered more. I also got some all-purpose flour. It's organic, unbleached. I don't use a ton of this, but I do like to have it around, especially to feed my sourdough starter, some things like that. We have some at our local grocery store, but it's really, really expensive. And so I really like getting that on Thrive. Normal sized beef sticks. I really like these for on-the-go snacks. If I have to leave the house right away in the morning and don't have time for breakfast, I'll grab one of these. I also really like to get my essential oils from Thrive. They have really good prices. I like to have tea tree around for soap making, but also I like to have this around as a natural disinfectant. When I clean, I just use a couple drops of tea tree or any kind of antibacterial, antiviral essential oil just when I mop the floors or clean toilets or the tub or anything like that. Me and Tirza are dairy-free right now, and Thrive Market's filter makes it so easy for me to sort through things and find snacks that are dairy-free with very little effort. Thrive Market has a price match guarantee, so if you find the same product somewhere else for a lower price, they will match that price for you. If you use our link in the description box, you'll get 30% off of your first order plus a free gift. I have a bunch of other things that I want to get started. I want to get some chicken broth, some bone broth cooking in the Instant Pot. I also want to bake some chicken and then make some chicken noodle soup for tonight. But real quick, I have quite a bit of sourdough starter left, so I'm going to quickly mix up a batch of blondies. I just used the recipe off of Farmhouse on Boone for sourdough discard blondies, but I'm actually going to let these ferment. I'll just stick them in the fridge, and then sometime this week I'll bake them and we can have fresh cookies for supper. Me and the kids have some digestive issues, so I've just really been focusing on making sourdough a priority. I've always been so intimidated with baking like sourdough cookies and cakes and stuff, but it's honestly so incredibly easy. And I really want to teach Tirza how to do this because I want this to be something that she takes on. The great thing about sourdough stuff is that if you can't get to it the same day, you can just stick it in the fridge and deal with it later, which is exactly what I'm going to do with these. Basically today I'm just trying to get a whole bunch of stuff started, and then I'll have something to go off the rest of the week. So I'm just going to stick these in the fridge for a couple days and let them ferment. I'm gonna quickly get some bone broth started here in my Instant Pot. These are the backs and the necks of the chickens that we set aside when we butcher, and I use these primarily for bone broth. I just put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in there to help the bones break down, and then some spices. You can do whatever you want. I usually just do some salt, pepper, thyme, paprika, garlic powder. I have to go to town and grab a bunch of groceries to restock our fruit bowl and some stuff like that. So I'm just going to set this for 3 hours on low pressure in my Instant Pot, and it should be done by supper tonight. I like to just make so that the bones are covered in water. If you put too much water in, then your bone broth isn't gonna gel very well. So if you're having troubles with your bone broth gelling, try using less water. That's a mistake I used to make. You want to set your Instant Pot on low pressure as opposed to high pressure. It just helps things break down better. I'm also gonna quickly throw this chicken into the oven, and it's gonna bake for an hour or so while I'm gone. And then I'm gonna be picking this tonight and making it into chicken noodle soup.
While Michelle goes to get her groceries, I'll show you what's going on out here. Before we left for Texas, I knew that it was gonna get cold while we were gone, but I didn't notice what the weather was gonna be like until right before we left. So the day before we left, I was scrambling around here to try to figure something out for the ducks and the chickens. The chickens were still out in the pasture. Hero was in the back field. The ducks were just kind of running around loose. So I came up with a couple things, and they're still all temporary situations, especially until I get that chicken coop finished. And it's coming along, but it is not done yet. So the ducks I put up here in the brooder. I made so that they could get inside of the brooder. That gets warmer during the day since it's made out of glass. If there is any sun, which there's not right now, but when the sun shines in there, it warms it up. And then I put an electric fence all the way around. It's not actually shocking, but it's fenced to keep them in. They did get out sometimes, my dad said, but he was able to get them back in pretty easy. And actually, I see them out in the pasture right now. There's holes in this fence, and they just kind of go right through. They are closed up in there though at night, and so that keeps them safe at night. For the chickens, I got them moved up here to where the ducks were. I wanted a nice little space for them to get into at night to keep them safe and to keep them warmer. And then I also put a net around here to keep them in. The chickens are actually staying in, thankfully, and they're doing pretty good. They've got a nest box in there so they can lay their eggs. But what really needs to happen is I need to get this chicken coop done right here. Once that's done, the ducks and the chickens can be in there for the winter. That'll keep them warmer and safe. And then for now, I'm gonna be putting an electric net on the outside of that until I get an actual run built on the outside. The water definitely freezes overnight for the chickens and the ducks. For the ducks, it's able to be in that brooder, and so I think it stays a little bit warmer. For the chickens, it has to be out here because that chicken coop is not big enough for the chickens and their food and water. But once I get that chicken coop done over there, I'll be putting a heated drinker in there for them to have, and so that won't be freezing up all the time. It is just cold out here. Before we left, I brought Hero up the trail and gave him access to this paddock right here. There was still some nice grass in it before we left. It looks like he ate it down pretty good. Plus now it just all froze and everything. So he needs to be on just hay right now. So I do want to get him moved into a different paddock so he's not ruining this grass here for next year. Hey buddy. I'm gonna move Hero up into this front paddock right here. It's my winter sacrifice area. Hey buddy. It never grows as good grass up here because every winter the cows are in here all winter long, but it gives them some extra space, makes so they're not just in the mud up in a corral. I think that's a lot better for them, and it's worth the little sacrifice. There's actually a little bit of grass out here that he'll be able to eat. You like that, huh? That grass won't last him long, but it'll at least be a little bit of something. But now he is in his forever winter home and he'll be on hay. I need to actually go get hay pretty soon. Probably not today. Today has been a little bit crazy just trying to get caught up on everything after being gone on our trip. But I will need to go get hay soon. This here is gonna be a little bit of a struggle. This is just freezing solid. But if I break it out, put fresh water in there, it'll last for at least a day. Just gotta do that every day, which kind of sucks. I am thinking about getting a heated water. Those things are really expensive, so I'm not sure. It's really not all too bad breaking it up. But I do like to make things as efficient as possible in the winter because nobody likes doing chores out in the cold. You're supposed to be in your fence.
I ran to the grocery store this afternoon and just grabbed some groceries to restock the kitchen. I tried to use everything up before we left on our trip, so this was very necessary. This is a very typical grocery haul. We definitely grow a ton of our own food, but there's still places that we need to supplement from the grocery store. So the first thing I got was paper plates. I always keep a big stack of these on hand for the evenings if we have to go somewhere, or evenings where I'm really stressed out. These are cheaper than a maid, and it is a pleasure, a guilt-free pleasure for me. For snacks, my kids primarily have fruit, and we are not producing a lot of fruit yet here in our homestead. So I love to buy organic fruit at the grocery store. I also got organic apples. These are organic, but I still am going to wash these before I put them on here. I do an apple cider vinegar rinse with these just to make sure that they don't have any kind of leftover chemicals and stuff on them. I also got lots of organic bananas. Cody eats these in his smoothie every morning. He likes the frozen bananas, so I just get a whole bunch of these. Chocolate chips for all of the holiday baking stuff that's gonna be going on. This is pineapple orange juice. It was on sale at Kroger. It's organic juice. I use this to hide any kind of like tinctures or drops or minerals or anything for the kids. I really like to have juice on hand just so that they can take their medicine without weeping everywhere. I also got a whole bunch of hot dogs because they had the grass-fed beef hot dogs on sale. This is definitely not something we eat all the time, but I like to keep something like this on hand. We don't go out to eat very often with a family of 6. It just doesn't work very well. I normally cook 3 solid meals a day, and sometimes I just get tired and I just don't feel like cooking. So this is to put in the freezer for those times. Honestly, this is something that I'm not crazy proud of, but it just is where I'm at right now. This is my favorite organic almond milk brand. It's Califia Farms, and the only ingredients are water, organic almonds, and sea salt. I feel like it's nice and creamy. It's the best one that I've tasted that doesn't have like a ton of added seed oils and ingredients. I use this to make my matcha in the afternoons. I also use this for making chia pudding, especially for my daughter who's dairy-free. It's like a milky, creamy dessert that she can have that just kind of scratches that itch. Like when you want something creamy and you can't have it, this is what I use that for. I'm wanting to try to make a hot chocolate with coconut milk. So far, honestly, I've hated coconut milk. I think it tastes disgusting. I really like the coconut cream in my tea lattes. For anything hot, I generally use the coconut. The almond milk, in my opinion, tastes awful hot. So I only do coconut stuff hot, but I have not found a way to enjoy the coconut milk yet. The dairy alternatives that I'm buying have been quite a struggle for me, just simply because we have always been self-sufficient in the dairy area, but it's just where we're at right now. And I just keep reminding myself that it's just a part of the journey, and hopefully we'll be past this someday. Hopefully we'll have sheep that we can drink the milk from. But for now, this is what we're doing. And I just like to be really real in our videos and show you where we're actually at. I like to get this organic unsweetened chocolate just for those holiday treats that are already really sweet and that you don't want to add more sweetness to, but you still want the chocolate flavor. I like to add this like a drizzle on top. This is some good quality cottage cheese that I get for Cody. This is something that's high in protein that he really enjoys. And we're not getting enough milk to actually be making these things right now. Also, peanut butter is something that my kids love for snacks with apples or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That's one of those fast foods that they can make by themselves that still has some protein. I do not cheat when it comes to getting organic peanut butter. I always get the organic and make sure it doesn't have any of the palm oil or other additives in it. And of course, I have some tea. This is definitely tea season for me. I have some organic Earl Grey here. I really like that for a good old London fog. And then the rooibos chai is my all-time favorite. I drink this every single morning. It's caffeine free, and I just drink it with some collagen and honey and coconut cream. I do grow a ton of our own herbs, and so I have my herbal tea every evening, sometimes also in the afternoon, but there's definitely times where I just want that hot tea latte, and so this is what cuts it for me. This bread is very ready to be put into pans. It's getting a little bit late in the evening, but hopefully now that the wood stove is on, This stuff will rise really fast. It's definitely warmer over here in this area, but this stovetop does not actually get hot. I would literally own an Instant Pot just to make bone broth. I don't use my Instant Pot for much other than bone broth, but it is so worth it for this process. If you guys don't know what to get your wives for Christmas, or if you women have a husband who cooks a lot, this thing is the bomb. I use it all the time. I needed an onion for my soup and thought it would be a good time to check the temp since it's so cold outside. It's like 50 degrees in here, which is really good. And then back where the potatoes are stays even colder. This is definitely colder in here than it was before, which makes me really happy, but I am going to turn on the fan just to get it to cool it down even more, because I would like it to be around like 45 in here. The last thing that I'm going to do today is get my sprouts started again. This is something I really love to do when I'm not bringing in tons of fresh lettuce and fresh veggies from the garden. I just put 2 tablespoons of alfalfa seeds in one jar, 2 tablespoons of broccoli seeds in the other jar. Cover them with water, let them soak overnight, and then rinse them every day, and you're done. I got these sprouting lids off of Amazon. It's just like a little piece that fits inside of a ring. You just flip this on top, and you don't have to take this lid off until your sprouts are completely done. Tomorrow morning, I will just drain the water off of these, rinse them, drain, and let them set for the day. It's very, very simple. Sprouting is one of those things that I was intimidated by in the beginning, and now it's just like so easy. There's really nothing to it. And sprouts are so incredibly nutritious. Ah! She smells the chicken. Hi, Captain. This holiday season, I've decided to be more intentional about creating a festive atmosphere in my own home. So often I get wrapped up in all the Christmas activities outside the home that I forget to take the time to create those memorable home-based memories that my kids will carry with them forever. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just small things. Turning on Christmas music on the TV before the kids come down in the morning, making homemade hot chocolate and hot lemonade in the evenings, binge watching a baking show together, and eating warm sourdough bread and honey by the Christmas tree. And don't forget to check out Thrive Market and use our link to get 30% off your first order.